All right, how's everybody doing? Sorry about that. OBS was giving me some trouble. I just need to change one setting here, and I think every time something messes with my microphone's volume, and it's always too low. Oh, we got a new follower. That actually works. I forgot I set up all this new stuff because we switched over to using Streamlabs. Instead of regular OBS, we're using Streamlabs OBS. And I appreciate everybody who's following. I'm trying to find... I was trying to pull a video down, and it wasn't working. Oh, I might have to turn that off. That's getting kind of annoying. Very quickly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. So, how's everybody doing here? Oh boy, we're going to turn that off. Where's my alert box? Alert box. I think it's followers. Oh man. Come on. Follows. Media. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that. Get rid of that sound. There we go. That should do it. So, I looked all cleaned up. I got my official TH3D Polo on today. How's everybody doing? We were just doing some measuring and all sorts of other stuff downstairs in the basement, trying to get some stuff framed out so we can do like an office to move Samantha's office down there, and working on the entertainment room that I've been talking about doing for the last 2 years. Well, we haven't been here for 2 years, so since we've been here, December of 2018. So we've been talking about doing an entertainment room downstairs with like a projector and some seats and stuff, but finally getting around to doing that. So, but I have a lot of drywall and stuff to remove. So how's everybody doing? You guys need to start posting your questions in the chat. So how this works is I will try to answer all the questions. Sometimes I don't if chat's particularly busy. But you guys post your questions in chat. It could be anything. It could be anything 3D printer related for FDM type stuff. I'm still very green when it comes to resin, but we specialize here in FDM machines right now. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. And then we have about an hour, so we'll go to about 3 o'clock my time. It's just after 2, and we'll roll on that. I'm just moving some files here. It's been a quite busy day. We had a lot of meetings today. We're getting geared up for the Black Friday sale, which if everything goes as planned, you should start seeing deals and stuff being posted this weekend. That's the plan. So we will be doing some sales and some promotions and that kind of stuff. So keep an eye out for that, because I got a lot of good deals in store for everybody. I am hoping that we get more easy boards in before the sale. We ordered a bunch of them to have for the sale, and they are still in production. So I got to ping our engineer and find out where we're at in the production cycle on those to make that happen. So hopefully the timing is good. So we'll see. If not, I can always just do back orders and stuff on that, or just have like a specific amount set, because I know how many we have coming in. So we'll get it figured out. COVID is screwing up all of the shipping and everything across the board. It's been a lot of fun. So before we get started, I do have something fun. So I love this little ad we put together for Easy ABL Kit. So go ahead and post your questions in chat, and I'm going to roll this quick little ad here, because sales of our products is what lets us do these cool streams. So sponsored by ourselves.
Hi there, Frank George here. As a doctor, I know a thing or two about probing. Indeed I do. I love something that's easy to install, easy to use, and backed by a real support team. And that's why I choose TH3D Easy ABL Kit for my 3D printers. I prefer not to waste countless hours trying to figure out how to connect things to my machine when I could be printing instead. With the TH3D Easy ABL, you get technical support, easy to use firmware, quality parts, amazing accuracy, and there's no moving parts. What are you waiting for? Head over to their site at easyabl.th3dstudio.com and get one today. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy printing. The Easy ABL Kit is meant for 3D printer usage only, not for medical or rectal use.
I love that. I love that ad. I hired that guy on Fiverr to do that, and it was worth every penny. It was more than $5, but it was absolutely worth it in my opinion. So if you guys haven't seen that is on our channel. I just like to dig it out every now and then. So let's go through the chat here. Hopefully YouTube's live chat is actually going to show me everything, and it is. Okay, so good. All right, let's see here. All right, so first question is from Sean Youth here. I wish I could like highlight comments. Can I do that in Streamlabs? Can I like highlight comments? I don't think I can. But Sean Youth asks, do you think if a Bowden style setup with a PTFE tube that's quite long, will it hinder print quality? Would direct drive be better? So I have a mix of machines that have really short Bowden tubes that are like only this long on some of my smaller ones. And I have ones on like the Ender 5 Plus, which are really, really long. One thing you can do, before I go into that, if your printer is correctly tuned, you have all your retractions and stuff set up, it shouldn't matter. One thing you can do to mitigate how much retraction you're using is to switch to a tighter tolerance tube, like we carry our Tough tube, and that's a 1.9 millimeter internal diameter versus your standard tubing can be 2.0 all the way up to 2.2 we've seen on some machines like the ANET printers. So the less retraction you need, the easier it's going to be to tune your printer, and the quicker your print's going to get done because it's not doing as long of retractions. So when you go to a tubing that's got a smaller internal diameter, instead of the retraction causing the filament to take up that slop in the tube because it's going from pushing where it's like, so let's say I'm going to try. So let's say, you're feeding your filament, and it's pushing on this side of the printer's tube, and then you retract and it pulls it down in this. So that retraction, that movement of the tube on the retraction is going to add to the total length of retraction you're going to need on your printer. So if you have if you have this versus a tube that's like this, it's much smaller and you're not going to need as much retraction. So it'll be easier to tube, it'll be easier to tune, there'll be less play in that tube, which in my experience does make it easier to tune, gives you better print quality, because the more you can constrain that filament inside your PTFE tube, the more accurate your print's going to be and easier to actually run the printer. So I think there's people that have preferences for direct drive or Bowden. I use both here, and I don't have a preference, to be honest. The one main benefit I would say, in my opinion, is that with direct drive, it's easier to do flexible filament at a faster feed rate. Now, you can still do flexible on a Bowden system, but you usually have to print slower. But when you go to a direct drive, if you're doing a lot of flexible filament, a direct drive would be beneficial because you're going from, however long your tube is to usually only a couple of inches between where it's actually being fed and where it's being melted. So that's my take on that. Hopefully I explained that well. Because our tubing, I use it even on printers that we have all metal hot ends on, because the tubing we sell, the tough tube, has two benefits. One, it's got the tighter tolerances, so there's less slop in the tube for the filament, and it's also higher temp resistant. It's not going to break down like the cheaper stuff will. So, but my favorite feature of that is not the high temp resistance, but the tighter internal diameter. So, that's it. And Nadav says, "How am I doing? I'm doing okay. Little tired, but I got my my energy drink here, which I need to finish." So, Bill Marcy says, "How do I get PETG to be less stringing?" Oh, PETG. I literally, where did it go? Oh, I think I broke the smokestack on it, so I threw it out. Oh, here it is. So, I intentionally broke the smokestack. It took a lot of force. But I was actually tuning in some PETG on my Ender 3 Pro here. And you can see there's still some strings. So what I found to reduce stringing is the use of a layer fan, and fast moves. So in your slicer, you can usually set the X and Y movement speed. I run 120 millimeters a second. Now, that's on an Ender 3 machine. Some bigger machines like the CR10s or the S4, the S5, the bigger ones, you can't sling the bed around that fast, so you do run into that. Stay away from using Z-Hop. I found that actually makes things worse. Make sure you have your retraction set enough, meaning it's not too low, because it does PETG naturally, regardless of how well your stuff is tuned, you're probably going to end up with a couple of strings, even with the best tune on it, but you can literally just take a heat gun, and just wave it past the part, and they'll just disappear. So, what I'm trying to say is play with your retraction settings, your XY movement speed. You want to have it go as fast as possible away from where it's doing the move, because if it's slower, then it gives it more chance of it to actually string. Where if it's quick, it just breaks it instead of it stretching it out. So that's my recommendations on that. And don't go nuts trying to tune out every little string. Get it to where the actual print quality is good, and then do some post-processing with a heat gun, because the reality is you're probably never going to get rid of all of the stringing on PETG. You'll probably have little wispies. Make sure your nozzle's clean too, because the one thing that screws up most of my PETG prints is I don't clean off the nozzle before I start the print, and there might be some filament, and it'll drop down onto the part, and then that will start stringing because it's dragging extra filament around. So keep your nozzle clean, do fast XY movement speeds, because you want to get it away from where it's moving from, so it doesn't have time to stretch out with a slower movement. You want to get it to break that connection versus it drawing it out, and that's where the stringing comes from. Richard L., what's your favorite touchscreen interface? No touchscreen interface is my favorite touchscreen interface. Gregory, yes, we do still have some B-stock plates, and those of you guys that emailed me, I'm just going to show this off. If you guys email me, I will eventually list these on the site in a couple weeks. I just got a lot of other stuff, but what he's talking about is we have what these are called B-stock. This is stuff, come on, focus, there we go. You can see there's just some scuffs and stuff. This is what we consider B-stock. There might also be like a little blemish like this one. You can see like there's a little tiny thing that got trapped under the film. Come on, focus. Don't be a Logitech, Sony. Come on, you're letting me down. You can see like right here, like this is the kind of stuff you'll get on our B-stock plates. So they're not on the site, but you can email us at streams@th3dstudio.com. And don't be like, what do you have? Tell me what sizes you're looking for. So look at our EasyFlex product page and look at the sizes we have, and then tell me what size you want, and I will let you know if we have them. And please request more than just one plate. It just I have a bunch of the 235s in the smooth and the textured, and I've got various other sizes. So I will just go through the emails in a couple of days here and then reply to you guys, and then I'll hold that stock for a couple days, and if you want it, then I'll send you a custom invoice. So if you are going to email us about the B stock plates, make sure you already have a TH3D account, and it would help if you specify the email you use for that account, because that'll make my process of setting up the custom order easier, because like I said, they're not an actual product in the site. I have to do a manual order, which does take time. But I've got a bunch of them here that we've accumulated over the year of selling these, and they've just been put aside, and I'm like, I need to get rid of them. So we're actually donating a bunch of them to MakerBox or Matchbox Maker Lab in Lafayette for their printers. So we're gonna be donating a bunch of those to them for them to use in their little maker studio. But we do have a ton of them. So yeah, just shoot me an email, and again, if you have a TH3D account, put your address on there too, because if I literally just have your email, your address populates in the order, and it's a lot quicker for me. So all right, let's go back through here. I just answered that. Rush in Ohio says, want a extra easy board for the Ender 5 Plus. I'm not sure what you mean. Please clarify. Egbert is asking, have you seen Tom's video? I'm assuming you're talking about Tom's 3D on the Sidewinder X1. You could also be talking about Filament Frenzy, Tom. He says that it's unsafe. Do you have any opinion? I don't see anything on the machine that's really unsafe. I see a lot of design flaws with it. Like, I hate the ribbon cables. I've already said before, we've replaced the little board that's on the X gantry, the left one, where the 2 ribbon cables come in and the X end stop mounts. We've replaced that board 3 times. And I started having issues with it again after using it now, where I got these little micro cracks in the solder that holds those ribbon cable connectors to the PCB. So I actually had to flux them and re-solder all them. And I actually use leaded solder, because I find that a lot of the cheap lead-free stuff tends to crack, and leaded solder seems to hold up a lot better. Could just be me set in my ways. But I've had to repair that board once now and replace it 3 times. So I'm not a big fan of the ribbon cables. They look pretty. They look clean. I like how they look, but in terms of functionality, I would much rather have a traditional setup where I just have a bundle of cables going back to the main control board. It makes doing repairs on it harder, having the ribbon cables. It makes doing upgrades harder because of the ribbon cables. You know, you could get rid of them and recable it, but you're now running your own wire harness. So, but I might do that to ours if it keeps breaking, because I'm honestly quite sick of messing with it. So we'll see. It's going in our print farm, so we'll see how it holds up. If it breaks again, I'm probably just going to rip the ribbon cables out that feed it and run all my own new wiring and just be done with it. So, Nadav, I already covered the B stock flex plates, so just go ahead. I'm sure you heard me yammering on about how to do that. But again, the email is streams@th3dstudio.com. Send us the email that's linked to your TH3D account, and if you update your address or your account, that would help us out a lot, because then it makes setting up those custom orders easier. So, but Egbert, I'll have to look up his video and see what he was complaining about. I did have an issue with grounding on mine, but a lot of grounding is unsafe. And that might be what he was touching on, because that printer does have an AC bed. So having a proper ground on it is way more important than having it on a printer like the Ender 3 that runs everything off of DC. So that is potentially dangerous. I'm not a huge fan of AC beds because of that reason. Like, if we ever did a printer ourselves, I would not be doing an AC bed. The only printer I think you can justify doing an AC bed, if it's done correctly, is doing an upgrade on like the CR10 S5, because that printer has such a big bed. To do a DC one would just be crazy. So, but you got to be very careful with AC beds, especially with stuff you're not doing. Like, I've built many CR10 S5 machines, or CR10 SS5s, the big boys from Creality. I built a lot of them. I think I've done 6 already. for people that have requested us to build them. But we do grounding on the bed. So we actually ground the bed carriage, we ground the printer frame, and we run a separate power plug with a breaker and everything for that bed power. So it's as safe as we can make it, make sure everything's terminated correctly, but you're obviously not getting that same level of care with a pre-built machine from a Chinese company. So I guess apples to oranges. So yeah, grounding, if you have an AC bed, you want to make sure your PSU is grounded. Ours did have a bad ground. So yes, that is potentially dangerous. I'm not a huge fan of the X1. I'll be completely honest. I'm not a huge fan of the X1 when there's other machines like the CR10, the CR10 V2, or even some of the ANET machines even, that have the same build volume and they're not as proprietary. I hate those ribbon connectors if you couldn't tell. So, but this is all my opinion. You can take it or leave it. Jeff DeWolf says, Ender 3 V2, I believe you mentioned that it was a known issue with some weirdness on extruder in the firmware that Marlon was working out. Is there a place I can see the status of that? There was a GitHub issue post or issue. It's in the issue queue on GitHub where people were troubleshooting that. I have not been able to replicate it, but there are people with videos where they told like an axis to move and then the E-motor starts backing the filament out. I believe it's related to the touchscreen, and or not the touchscreen, but I say touchscreen because it's the same D-Win LCD that the touchscreens are. So I believe it's related to either the firmware on the touchscreen, which if that's the case, that's going to be a pain to troubleshoot because it's closed source, or it's going to be how the D-Win support is implemented in Marlin. So, for example, an Ender 3 with the same exact board in it as the Ender 3 V2, so the 422 board, does not have that issue. And the difference is it has a traditional 12864 LCD. So it looks like the issue is with either the LCD itself and the firmware on it, or Marlin's implementation of talking to that LCD has a bug in it. So, because the same issue doesn't happen on the same board with the different screen. And those screens are very wonky and clunky, and they're, again, closed source. So, let's see here. Dr. Jekyll's asking about our EasyBoard Pro. We're still testing them. Unlike some other companies in this space, I actually like to test our stuff before we sell it to the customers. I don't like having our customers be beta testers for us. So we're trying to target that release for the beginning of next year for the Pro. And if you guys haven't heard of the EasyBoard Pro, that's a 5-driver version of what we already have. So for those of you that want to do dual extrusion, that's what the EasyBoard Pro would be. There's a lot more features. We're trying to keep everything hush-hush so certain companies don't knock off our idea like they did with the original EasyBoard. So that's all the information I can release at this time about it. Is we're targeting for January 2021 for that. And that's about all I can divulge right now. James Crouch says, is offloading the main for the bed and hot end via MOSFETs? Oh, he's asking if adding MOSFETs for the hot end and bed are a waste of time on an Ender 3 4.2.7 board. For the bed, it wouldn't be a bad idea. For the hot end, yes, it's absolutely a waste of time. Traditionally, Crealities... Oh, and I got something to show you guys as to why... Oh, man, where did I put it? It's down here. I would do it for the bed if you're really worried about it, and it would prevent things like this from happening. This is a board from one of our ABS machines in the print farm, and even though people were instructed when they were building these to remove the tinned wires, obviously this was not followed. You can see there's still hot glue on the wires, so whoever had built this printer, one of our employees, did not follow the directions and did not tin the wires, and this is what happens. So you have crappy Chinese screw terminals combined with tinned wires. This is what happens. So we went out to the print farm one day, and it smelled like burning. And this was the cause. Now, I am going to be able to fix this board, and I probably will because I have extra terminals. But this is why you do not tin your wires. And this will happen on your Creality printers. This will happen on your SKR boards. This will happen on your MKS boards. It'll even happen on our Easy boards. If you put tin wires into a screw terminal, this is the end result. So, like, we got really lucky. This could have been a fire, and Thermal runaway, if this is still making connection but it's just getting hot, thermal runaway will not usually detect this. Sometimes it does. I have had it detect a bad connection on like an Ender 2 where it's got that modular plug on the bed, which we've now replaced. All those plugs are all just directly soldered to the printer beds. But this is why you do not tin your wires. So we could have had a fire in our shop here if this had gotten any worse. But this is why you do not tin your wires. It's not a personal preference of mine. It's a fact that this is what happens when you don't tin, or when you tin your wires. So on all your printers, if you guys have not already done this, open up your printers, unscrew the wires, snip the end off, strip it, and put the bare wires in here. Even better, if you have a crimp ferrule kit, cut it off, put a crimp ferrule on there. I've never had this happen with bare wires. I've only ever had this happen with tinned wires. And there's an article out there by Phoenix Contact, which is actually the manufacturer we use for the contacts for our Easy Board. They're very high-end terminals. To give you an idea, like these are like 5 to 10 cents a piece. Our terminals cost us almost $1. But they go over why using tinned wires is bad. And the short answer is because when the wire's tinned, it goes in there, it's fine. Well, as current goes through it, it heats up, the solder expands, and it starts to crack. And then it shrinks and contracts, and now you have a gap between the mechanism inside the terminal that actually makes contact with it. So it's kind of making a connection, but now you're getting arcing in here. So basically what happens is, and what happened here is this kept arcing, and this is the bed wire. You're really not going to see it on your hot end, but the bed, stuff that draws a lot of current, which is like your bed, and even on the main power input. So you'll usually see this type of failure on the bed terminals or the main power input. So what happens is because that it expands and contracts, it's no longer got a tight connection on there, and it starts arcing. And that arcing creates heat. The heat creates meltiness, and sometimes it can cause a fire. I should probably put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let's put it on there for 1 hour. There we go. We're on Do Not Disturb. My apologies. So. But yes, this is why you don't tin your wires. This could have been much worse for us. We could have had a fire in our print farm, and luckily it just kind of smoldered. But if you guys haven't checked your printers, open your printer up, check all your wires. It'll take you. You can do it with a set of snips. What comes with your printer? You don't need any special tools. It doesn't cost you anything. So, I don't make any money off of telling you guys to untin your wires. I tell you guys to do this because I don't want to see people having fires from these printers. There's enough stuff to worry about on them. And despite me telling these manufacturers to stop doing this, put ferrules on it, stop tinning the wires, or just put bare wires in, they still do this. Creality still does this to this day. Our CR6 had tinned wires. Our Ender 3V2 had tinned wires. They aren't listening, and I think it's because they don't care. They know you can't, like, if this caused a fire in our print farm, I cannot go and sue Creality. They're a Chinese company. I can't sue Creality, and they know that. That's why they don't care that this stuff does happen. And I'm sure if we didn't, all the other machines, this is the only one in the farm that did not have its tinned wire snipped off. I guarantee you that if we had not done that to the other machines, we probably would have had more of these failures. Actually, I guarantee we would have more of these failures, and possibly even a fire, depending on how bad it got. So please take a look at your printers, unscrew the wires one by one. If they're tin, snip it off, strip it back, twist it, and then put it into the terminal and tighten it back down. And it wouldn't hurt for once in a while to actually go in to your printer, just take a screwdriver and just snug up the terminals once in a while. Make sure that they have good connections, because one of the things, and this is the difference between these cheap no-name terminals that the Chinese companies use and the ones that we use on our board, is that these do not lock. When you turn these screws, they're very smooth. They don't lock. On our contacts, you can actually feel little notches where the terminal is actually holding onto that screw, so it can't just loosen up over time as the terminal heats up and expands and contracts from the current going through it. That's the main difference between a 10-cent terminal and a $1 terminal, is that they don't build those features into them. And you're not going to know that by looking at it. You're like, oh, it's a terminal. It's going to hold wires. They're not all created the same, and there's a reason we spend the extra, like we spend 10 times on our terminals, on our board, than the Chinese companies do. And even if we didn't have to worry about the liability side of things, I would still be putting better quality terminals on it. China doesn't care. They're going to sell you these. If you have a fire, you can't sue them. You're SOL. You're up to, hope to God you have some sort of homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance. And I have heard stories of people that have been using like, you know, for, it's mostly like in the LED driver type stuff where they use like these no-name power supplies that are not UL listed, and their claims get denied because they were using unsafe equipment. So it then falls on the homeowner. So do everything you can to mitigate these issues, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're having to go through insurance claims and all this stuff. And if they do discover that it's something like this, that it was a Chinese 3D printer, they might be able to get out of paying you out. So, you know, try to get ahead of that and mitigate all the risk you can. And I just talked about tinned wires for what, 10 minutes there. I'm very, very passionate about that subject, and I wish these companies would listen to what I'm saying. Oh, you're asking about probe points with the Easy ABL and the Ender 5 Plus. I run 9. I run a 3x3 grid. If you want to do more than that, by all means go nuts, but I run 9x9. Or not 9x9, 3x3. So 9 points total. So 3, 3, 3. James is saying radio station towers use pipe instead of wire for this reason. That's interesting. I did not know that. Craig says, if Creality have been updating their firmware recently, if Creality have been updating their firmware recently, why have they released an update for E3V2 for 427 and BL Touch, in your opinion? I don't know if you're saying, like, why did they release it or why haven't they? Can you please clarify that? Are you asking, like, they released one, or you're asking me why they released one, or you're asking me why haven't they released one? So just so everybody's clear, the Ender 3 V2, as far as I'm aware, and based on the information I have at the time of talking to you right now, the Ender 3 V2 comes with a version 4.2.2 board with Trinamic 22.8s on board. So, Loctite wouldn't help much because I don't recommend Loctite, because think about it, you could be creating more resistance than if you can get these screws out, some of them do come out, and you put Loctite in, the terminals rely on that screw for some of their contacts. So putting something in between that could potentially add more resistance, which means heat then. Tommy Waffles asks, what's the thing around back? Oh, this is our fancy TH3D neck gaiter. Look at it. All branded out, which is in our merch store. So, I've been going out to the shop more, so what's it called? I just leave this. I like these better than the other stuff because I can literally just be like this. Okay, I'm going in. I need a face covering. I'm done. It's right here. It's soft. So I'll plug our stuff. It's on our merch shop, which should be linked on the bottom of these videos. I should promote that. Should figure out how to do that. So Craig has asked, yes, the Ender 3v2 came with a 422 as you just mentioned. So why are they now supporting the E3v2 with a 427? That's a good question. Okay, so are they on the site? Where's this source? Yeah, see, Kenneth is we're on the same page, Kenneth. Yeah, Loctite is non-conductive. Don't want that anywhere near electrical connection. I agree. This is actually our older neck gaiter from one of our suppliers. This is just a single layer one. Our new ones are actually 2-layer, and they're a lot softer because we're having them done. These were from Printful, which I could rant about Printful for hours. They're a joke. But usually what I do, I just threw this on quick because my father stopped by and just trying to play it safe here. But usually when I go out with this one, I'll double it up because it's long. And just kind of like do this with it. Hang on. There we go. It like came undone. I had this like this so I could easily throw it on. But there we go. So now it's 2-layer. I feel like I'm putting a sock on my head. But there we go. 2 layers now, but I like them. But the ones we sell on our merch shop now, those are through Teespring, and they're 2-ply. So, but anyways, let's see. He posted on MeWe. All right, let's see. Let me go to MeWe. We have if you guys are not already on MeWe, I'm not going to get into all the legal stuff surrounding Facebook right now, but there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on, and we still have company pages on the platform, but I personally left Facebook. So you will not find me on there. I'm trying to find Craig here. So here's the thing with the 427 and the 422 boards. The 427 comes with Trinamic 2225 drivers, which are literally 2208 drivers in a different physical package. So because the Ender 3 V2 comes with 2208s already, it's the same board essentially, just a different physical package of the drivers. So there's no benefit of going from the 422 with the 2208s to the 427 with the 2225s. There's no benefit. I'm just looking at the, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just looking at the thread here. I found your thread on our MeWe group here. So, I mean, I'm working on, my next thing this week is to test the Easy board in the Ender 3 V2 with its stock LCD, because I think I should be able to get that working with that particular screen, because it's not a touch screen. It's got the knob. Yeah, I do actually have this in the feature requests here. So if we go here to my monitor, you'll see, so this is on our forum. I highly recommend you guys check out our forum. This is a great resource. So I have here noted that we were talking about the odd extruder behavior. Like I said, I believe this is something to do with either the D-Win LCD firmware or how Marlin implements talking to it. Something that's above my pay grade, and they're already looking into it. And I can't replicate it, which is the weird thing. This I've actually already started work on, and this is in the bug fix version. And then I do have it here listed for the 427 board for the Ender 3 V2, which I will have to test, which I have this board in for the Easy Board Lite. So I already have it on my to-do list. So this is MeWe. So we have a group here. So the TH3D printing community, anybody can join. We pay for this group monthly. That's how MeWe makes money. So if you have a business page, you pay for it. If you have a group, you pay for the group. So we're paying for the group. We're paying for a business page. We've got all this stuff here. We're doing promotions on both. I am going to be posting exclusive discounts in our other communities that are not Facebook, because I want to grow these other communities. I want to grow on platforms that aren't restricting their users, that aren't censoring people that they don't agree with. I don't care what, like I said, I don't care what side of the camp you're on. The censorship we've seen in the last couple of months from platforms like Facebook and Twitter disgust me. Regardless if I agree with the views they're censoring or not, it shouldn't be happening. So, but we do have these groups, and this is my favorite part about MeWe. Check this out. We have if I go to chats here, we have group chats. I'm trying to pull it up here. Where the hell is it? So there's a group chat just for the groups. So everybody can chat. I don't know why it's cutting my thing off, but anyways, check out MeWe. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. They don't have ads. They don't track you. They don't sell your data. I love it. I want to see it. I'm even paying for my account to be upgraded to their premium one. It's free, for the record. But if you want more features like the dark theme like I was using, it's $5 a month. Like, I would rather pay $5 a month to not have ads and be tracked, and support the platform. But like I said, it's free to use. But if you can spare the $5 a month, I would highly recommend, putting up the $5 and help them out. The more people we can get off of these big companies that are getting just too big for my comfort and a lot of other people's comfort. But that's a thing for another time. We could talk about that on a different stream. That'd be a great subject to talk about on our on my personal channel when I do hangouts there. So, does anybody have other questions in here? So, yeah, anyways, I will be working on the 427 with the, what's the word I'm looking for? The 427 with the Ender 3 V2 and testing out the easy board as well. So, Drew, it's not just dark mode. They have like sticker packs and additional storage because you own your stuff you put up there. So like Facebook, all the photos you upload, all your posts, Facebook owns all that and they can do whatever they want with it. You retain ownership of all your stuff on MeWe. I really like that, but you don't have to pay additional, but they have different themes. There's dark mode and there's like a girly mode and like a blue mode and stuff. But yeah, you can use a browser extension for that, but there's other stuff. There's like storage and I'll just pull it up because they give you a lot of stuff for it. And again, I just want to support the company. That's really all it comes down to. It's $5. It's not going to kill me. I'm in a position where it's not going to hurt me. I want to support this company and see them really take on Facebook. So what you get with the premium is the unlimited voice and video calling. So they do have it. I don't use it that much, but that may make or break it. I think, I don't know what they give you for the free one, but they've got custom themes, emoji patch, journals, and then you get a little badge to show everybody that you support them. But anyways, I highly recommend checking it out. It's free. I'm going to keep plugging that on there. So, let's see here. Okay, moving next. Tim, Ender 5 Plus, Ender 5 Plus advances, advances Y, but doesn't retreat. Fine on Z and X. What's your best guess? I would say the cabling. If you can, switch the X and Y plugs on. So like unplug the one from X, plug it into Y, take the one from Y, plug it into X, and then use LCD to move and see if they both move correctly or if the issue's still on Y. If the issue's still on Y, when it's connected to the X driver, then your motor's bad. But if the issue follows over to the X, then it could be your cable or your driver. I would be more inclined to see to say it's the cable than the drivers. Drivers are pretty hard to kill for the most part. You can kill them, but when I've seen issues like that, it's usually due to issues with the cable itself and not the motor or the driver. Yeah, I think if they are releasing a firmware supporting the 427 on the Ender 3 V2 is suggesting that they will ship them with the 427, not the 422. It would make sense if they standardize everything on one board. That's been my main complaint with them. They could literally use the same board in every machine they make. Why they don't, I wouldn't. If I was running the company, we'd have one board for every printer. It would simplify inventory. It would simplify firmware setup. It would simplify replacement parts. You know, you're stocking one SKU instead of like, I don't know if they have like 20 at this point. Can we customize our page with HTML like MySpace? I don't know. That would be awesome if you could, but I doubt it. God, I remember MySpace. I remember when MySpace came out because I'm freaking old. Did I buy the Anycubic Mega 02? I forgot. Because I had the tab open and I closed it and then I forgot about it. I am opening it up. I'm opening it up right now and I will pick one of those up because I do want to check those out. Oh, they have their eBay store. All right. And it says it ships from Los Angeles. All right. Well, I'm just going to do this while I'm chatting with you guys. Post more questions in chat. Come on. Keep the questions coming. We got like 15 more minutes. But I'm about to buy another printer here that we don't need. But yay, firmware development. Add to cart. No thanks. I think this is their official store on eBay. Is it? It looks like it. They got 2,100 feedback. Yeah, it looks like it. Whatever. I'm paying with PayPal, so. Anyways. Dominic, I saw Easy AB on my grandson's Ender 3. Plan to add some can't talk today. I plan on adding one to my Ender 5 Pro. I'll probably get the Easy Board while I'm at it. Do I need to consider any differences in setting up? Do I need to consider any differences in setting up the upgrades? No, if you did on the Ender 3, you're going to have a pretty easy time doing it on the Ender 5 Pro. I would say if you go with our board and the Easy ABL, you'll have a pretty easy time getting it all set up. No pun intended there. But I would install the Easy ABL kit first with the stock board and then swap the board out. That's the steps I would do it. I would do the ABL kit first on the stock board, make sure it's all working, and then swap the board out. That would be my recommendation. And I just clicked buy. My tax is $13.37, so my tax is leaked. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. I will put that into my caffeine fund because I have been cutting back on alcohol. I've told myself I'll only indulge in one vice, and that was
take my money.
that will be it's either you know, a couple beers a week or cigars, and you know what? There's no calories in cigars, so I'm going with my cigar habit. But I appreciate it. But I do basically run on caffeine here. I'm just saving my invoice to our receipts folder so my wife doesn't yell at me. Okay. Let's see. All right, what did you miss? You missed a lot of ranting about screw terminals. Hardest. Michael says, what is the latest TH3 firmware I can run on my CR10S? That would be the Unified 1, but I'm very close to having Unified 2 ready for the CR10S. If you notice, there's a CR10 control box here. The printer still needs to be brought in, so I can actually test it and qualify it on a physical machine. But like I have Unified 2 running on the CR10 V2. I've got it on our artillery AL4 that's over here. So about a week we should have out Unified 2 for the CR10S machines too. I swear to God, I put this on. Apparently if you put your Samsung watch on mute, it doesn't put your phone or on Do Not Disturb. It doesn't put the phone on Do Not Disturb. How does that make sense? Those are all these Indian... All those calls have been Indian scam callers. This is like the 6th one I've got today. I don't know what you're talking about. Ian says, my colleague got his. FYI, it had pinholes in the membrane. I don't know what you mean. Dusanos says, do you have firmware for stock machines without the ABL or anything installed? Yes, we do, for a lot. For quite a few machines. So I'll just run through really quick to show you guys what our firmware site is. So we have 2 quick links. I'm all about setting up subdomains and get to our stuff quickly, okay? So to get to our Unified 1, which is for 8-bit printers, you can just go to firmware.th3dstudio.com and go there, and that'll take you to the download page for that. I'm just looking up to check cameras really quick because I just saw someone pop their head in on my window over here. So this is for the 8-bit machines. These are all the machines supported by it. The ones with the Creality machines with the 1284p boards, or aka the Melzi boards, those are supported in Unified 2 now. So if you notice here, I have here a notice here, this first for 8-bit printers only. If you have a 32-bit board in your machine, check out Unified 2. So eventually, my goal is by the end of the year, Unified 1 is retired. So if we go to UF2, so like I'll just show you uf2.th3dstudio.com, it takes you this landing page here. So if you want to see all the ones Unified 2 supports, we have them listed by the printer and their board. That's how we're organizing it. So you have the printer, what board it supports. So these are all the ones we have out for Unified 2 right now. And there will be a lot more coming. Like I said, been working on the code. I got probably about 50 hours over the last 2 weeks into just firmware development. And that will all be released very soon. I'm just making sure that everything works before I put firmware out there and break people's stuff. So, Craig Marshall, what drones are you into, Tim? I've got 2 beta FPV Meteor 65s, and I've got a custom-built 250. God, why do I pick hobbies that are so expensive? My freaking wallet. God damn it. You guys in this light, I'm going to get rid of this thing. Every damn stream. Everyone's like, turn the cube on, turn it on, turn it on. Top at Waffle, best place to get a replacement 515mm lead screw for a CR10. One of yours was damaged or removed. Ooh, that's rough. Ziltech.com. If I need lead screws, I buy them from Ziltech, and they have listings, or at least when I ordered one from them 6 months ago, they had a section where you could literally have them cut the lead screw to your exact length you want. And theirs have been straight, so I would highly recommend checking them out. Let's go ahead and put a little design on. Which one are we going to do today? I like that one. There we go. Happy now, llama? All right. Craig just started building his own FPV drone. Whole different world from the usual DJI route. Oh, yeah. It's completely different. It's like I have friends that they only fly DJIs, and I'm like, hey, you want to try this one? And they send it into the ground. Because basically a DJI just flies itself. Vodka and Coke? I'm not a fan of vodka and Coke. Dave, I think Dave just had a stroke there. I'm going to just go ahead and remove that. That was kind of funny. Anyway, so let me get back on track here. A vodka and Coke, never tried that. If I do have a mixed drink, it's rum and Coke. I love rum and Coke. Robert Rossi, what's up, man? Long time no see. I want to upgrade my Ender 3 extruder and nozzle for carbon fiber. What extruder do you recommend? Your tough extruder, question mark. I love our tough extruder, which is why we still sell it. But you could also do it with our aluminum one, which is a cheaper option that has a steel gear. And then for the nozzle, check out our Easy Flow. If the idea of a $15 nozzle doesn't scare you, check out our Easy Flow. They're copper nozzles that are plated, so they do hold up very well to carbon fiber filament. That's what I use when we print carbon fiber here. Now, we do have cheaper versions of nozzles that can print abrasive materials, like we have steel ones. MK8 would be the size you need for an Ender 3. But do know that the downfall with steel is that you have to run your extruder hotter because steel does not conduct heat as well as brass. So you have to raise your temperature to compensate for that. And I personally, whenever I use steel nozzles, I'll sometimes get a little more stringy than I do with like a brass. But the nice thing about the Easy Flow ones is they're copper, so they conduct heat better than brass, but they also have the plating on there so it doesn't get worn down when you run stuff like carbon fiber through it. So, Joe Eisenhart, can I load the TH30 firmware SKR E3 V2? We do have firmware on our site. It's provided there is just like a, olive branch to the community. But our technical support does not assist with that. So I just want to be clear, but you can get help with it in the forum. But yeah, if you go to uf2.th3dstudio.com, there is firmware for the SKR E3 Mini 1, 1.2, and 2.0 for the Ender 3 and Ender 5 machines. Luke says, not sure if you will be able to sell it, but I got a CR10 S5 with a Hemera extruder. After tons of changes, I'm using TH3 form with a normal setting of V6 hot in the printer settings. That sounds correct. The problem is when I go to print, the gears don't move. As far as I know, it doesn't seem to be a software issue. However, it's not something like gears are broken. My extrusion slot E0. It sounds correct. Have you checked all your wiring? I'm assuming since you have a Hemera, you had to either replace the cable or extend it. I would recommend checking that all the wiring is in the correct order. E3D should have, they're usually really good about their documentation, so I would check to make sure you have everything wired up correctly. And I'm assuming your hot end's heated because you said when I go to print, the gears don't move, which means I'm assuming your hot end's heated because our firmware does have what's called cold extrusion prevention turned on, which is exactly what it does. It prevents you from extruding when the nozzle's cold, and the tipping point for that is 170 degrees Celsius. So if you're running any of our firmware and you do not have your nozzle heated past 170°C, it will not move the extruder even if you tell it to move. It'll actually spit out a error in the serial output that says cold extrusion prevention or cold extrusion prevented or something along those lines. So Marcus asked, did Tom, this is the second person asked about the X1 and Tom's 3D. Did he just put, I mean, is it Tom's 3D or Film and Frenzy Tom? Because there's like two Toms I know of, there's two Toms I know of in the 3D printing community, and that is Tom Sedlander. I always screw up his last name. And then there's Film and Frenzy Tom. So please clarify so I can look it up. I'll have to put... Are you talking about his video from the live stream from August 23rd, or did he... I'm checking his channel right now.
A few weeks ago, heck.
Short Tom? He is quite short. I was not ready for that. Oh, he made one 5 days ago. 5 days ago. Okay. So I want to just point this out, that before he started talking about grounding issues and stuff and safety issues, I literally did this on our video over a year ago on our channel where I pointed out and tested all the grounding points. So I think we're one of the few channels that actually will open up every single machine that we unbox. So I just want to throw that out there. But you know, he's got 320,000 subscribers. We have like 14,000, if that. So, yeah, I'll have to watch this video later. It's 14 minutes, so I'll watch that later. I didn't realize he put a new one out, which makes sense why there's multiple people asking about that. 3D printing. Llama says rum and Coke. Hardest says rum and Pepsi with real sugar. Ooh, that sounds good. Captain and Diet. Captain is good too. Yeah, I usually do Captain Morgan. Or Mount Gay. The name is funny, but the rum is delicious. Bill says, I got your Seriton LCD replacement. I'm not sure if it'll fit your Seriton S Pro V2. The Pro V2, the difference between the Pro and the Pro V2 is a Pro V2 came with a BL Touch instead of Creality's set attempt of doing what we do with our Easy ABLs. Yeah, that should be a direct swap. Just make sure to set your BL Touch pin for the probe control pin, just like you would any other machine that you're using our firmware with on a BL Touch. I believe they hook it up to D11. Don't quote me on it. Check your actual wiring on your board, but I believe they hook it up to D11 on the board and then set your probe offsets. But it shouldn't be any different than the V1 because the V2 is just the V1 with a BL Touch instead of their abomination of a proximity probe. So we are coming up on 3 o'clock. So if you guys want questions, put them in the chat right now. Otherwise, I will be wrapping up in a few minutes here. So, Top of Waffle. I had a ground cable. I had a cable that came with some printer that had a ground lead connected, but nothing inside the cable. I've had 5 of those. I test them all now. There's a video on our channel, and I did a video when we were still in Illinois, in the condo, showing how to test it because you found that cable. I remember that. I found a couple more of them. Kyle Fegley, Southern Comfort and Mountain Dew. Doug, who is, I don't know if you guys know, Top of Waffle is actually my brother, and I'm surprised he's watching. I like that he's watching now. It must be a slow day at work. Doug, aka Top of Waffle, would probably love Southern Comfort and Mountain Dew. I feel like you would really enjoy that. What's the best place to buy an Bondtech extruder gear set? I would check printedsolid.com and see if they carry them. They might. They carry a lot of parts. They carry more higher end stuff. We're kind of like in the low to mid tier stuff. But let's see here. Okay, sorry. Michael Mearsman. I have a Monoprice Maker Select Plus rebrand duplicator i3. That's I think it's a rebrand i3 Plus because it's got Plus. Maker Select, Monoprice Maker Select Plus. Let me make sure I'm giving the correct information. Yes, that is a Wano i3 Plus. Completely stock running Marlin 1. Works fine for what I do. Is there big value to me upgrading the firmware? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Especially on that printer. That printer's got a D-Win touchscreen on it. We do have firmware for it. You can get more features, but if you don't need, like my thing is, if you don't need auto bed leveling on that printer, I would probably not mess with it, but don't quote me on this, but I'm like 90% sure that firmware out of the box does not have thermal runaway protection. And if it doesn't, then yes, update the firmware, because you're talking about a fire hazard. So if it does, then I'd probably just leave it. If you're not planning adding an auto bed leveling system, I'd probably just leave it. But if it doesn't have thermal runaway prevention on it, I would highly recommend upgrading the firmware, unless you have a fire extinguisher nearby and you never print without it unattended. So, Internet Work 2000, he's from Italy. Oh, he doesn't speak or understand English. He's using a translator to keep it up. Oh, thanks, man. Well, hello from the US. Send me some like legit Italian pasta. My wife would love that. Llama says we should stream tonight and drink rum and cokes. Well, I've already promised the wife that we are spending time together tonight. So, could do it tomorrow or Friday. Oh, look at Top Hat. He's growing older every day. He had an amaretto and Coke with grenadine. Oh, so adorable. Do you have a video of detailed filament calibration? Joel has been talking about it a lot, but has nothing on detail for tuning on specific filaments. I don't. To be completely honest, dialing in filament is really, it's trial and error, to be honest. And like, here's one thing I will tell you, and this has saved me a lot of headaches because I wasted a lot of time with this. If you're having a PLA or any filament that's excessively stringy and you're like, I know my settings make sense, there shouldn't be stringing, go get a completely different roll from a completely different company, preferably new, and try it with those same settings. Because a lot of the time, and I've had this with Ziltex filament, I'm not a fan of their filament, but their parts seem to be good. But sometimes it's just crap filament and you're not going to be able to tune it out. So before you pull your hair out and spend an entire weekend trying to tune your settings, try a completely different roll from a completely different company that's the same material type and see if you get the same results. If you do, then it's an issue with your profile. If you don't, it's an issue with the filament. So, and I feel like not enough people say that. I know I've mentioned this a couple times on the channel, but hopefully this information saves people a lot of headache, because I wasted so much time trying to tune my machine and going, why is this not working? These settings make sense for this machine. Like, it always printed great. And then ended up being just the filament being just crappy filament. So make sure to account for all the variables. Not a lot of people think, oh, maybe I should change the roll. Maybe I just got a roll that's bad. That's always a possibility. I'm checking our videos. It is called, on our channel here, if you guys want to see how to test your power cables, it's called Power Cable Safety, How to Test for Bad Ground Connections, and I will post it in chat here. I'm going to tag Mark here. There's a video link if you guys want to check that out. It's like 7 minutes, and I go into details on how to test it. And we are past the time, so I'm going to, no more questions after I just posted that link. I'm going to see what everybody is going here. Are the Bondtech knockoffs any good, or is that something worth going with the real deal? So I have one Bondtech clone that came with my Anycubic. It seems to be okay, but I also have a lot of friends that have bought the Bondtech clones specifically from Feistek, and they've been garbage. So I would highly recommend going with if you're set on the Bondtech style, highly recommend going with a genuine one. We have a genuine one on our Prusa. We upgraded it, and it's been great. Support the company. Like, that's not an open source design as far as I know. So, whereas like E3D open sources, their designs. I don't know if they've open sourced the Hermera or Hermes, whatever they're calling it now, but like their Titan, we sell of our own version of the Titan because it's an open source design. They put it out there for anybody to produce and manufacture. Bondtech did not do that. So it's like the BL Touch clones. If you're going to buy a BL Touch, buy the original. If you're going to buy Bondtech, buy the original. Support the original companies. But if they open source it, then it's fair game. But if they don't open source it, then you're just literally supporting product piracy. So, which China's very good at. I answered the question about the grounding. He bought Internet Work 2000 says, I bought an ANA AT4. What do you think? I still have to get there. I'm assuming you mean you still have it. You said you were using translator, so understandable. I like the hardware on the ANET ET4, but I do not like the firmware. But there's Marlin for the ANET. It requires a programmer. So if you don't have an ST Link, it's a little USB thing. You can buy little knockoff ones, or like generic Chinese ones for like $5 to $10. The genuine ST Links, I think, are like 30. It's basically just like a little serial programmer. It's nothing special. But you will need that to load Marlin. So I am going to be plugging away at the ET4 and the ET5 to get Marlin working on it. So my thing is with the ANET ET4 and the 5, I like the hardware. I hate the software. So if we can get rid of the software and put Marlin on it, I think they'll be good machines. So, David Petzel says my channel is sponsored by Michelob now. I did an unboxing review of a case of Michelob Ultra. Marcel says I posted a question, but I guess kind of vague. Okay, so I'll take yours. No more. So I'm just gonna put this little line here. That's the cutoff. I'll answer these other ones, and then I do have to get going. I've got a lot of stuff to do today. So Kingroom KP3 printer, hot end nozzle replacement upgrades. Any thoughts on it? I watched your videos about it. I'm still running the stock hot end. I added a layer fan. I added our bed leveling kit, and I replaced the spacer or the springs that hold the bed with little 10 millimeter nylon spacers, or they're either nylon or aluminum. They're like spacers that are usually used for V-slot wheels. But it's what I had laying around. And that printer's been great. I like it. I like that printer a lot, especially for the price. If it was like $200 or more, I wouldn't like it as much, but it's a lot of bang for the buck. And I'm sorry I haven't done a printer unboxing in a while. It's been crazy here. We still have, our main shipping person has been out due to COVID-19 quarantine. So I've been reassigned to some stuff. We're also in the middle of reorganizing our shop. So I haven't had much time to sit down and stream. And I have to, after the stream, I actually have to go out to the shop and get my ass up on a ladder and put some cameras up in there to cover our new packing station setups. Butcher JB, is the EasyFlex kit as heavy as a glass bed for a CR10S? I can't give you a definitive answer because I haven't weighed the glass bed. I want to say it's going to be the same or slightly less. I would believe that there's going to be some weight savings, but again, I haven't measured it. Like just going off of how much I know, because I used to use glass before we even had these plates, and then I switched to the bed mats, and now I use our flex plates. But I want to say it's probably going to be about the same or a little less. Is it going to be like, oh my god, my print quality is going to go up because it weighs that much less? Probably not. But it's not going to hurt anything. My Ender 3 24-volt case fan and hot end fan are hooked to a buck converter and connected to a pin on the SKR13. So the nozzle temp is, when the temp of the nozzle is above 50C, it turns on, but at start, only the case fan makes terrible noise, sort of vibrating. But when I stop the fan with my hand and turn it on again, it's silent. Yeah, your fan's going out. You need to replace your fan. We do have, I don't know why you hooked it up to a buck converter. But you should just do just get a 24 volt. If it's a case fan, that's a 40 millimeter. And we carry them, and they will last a lot longer than the stock ones. So if you want one that is going to last a while, so you don't have to replace it every couple months, that's what we carry. So we don't carry the super cheap ones that you can get in like a pack of 5 for like $12 on Amazon that are going to last about the same as the stock one. There's a reason our products cost more. It's not just because I'm greedy and I want to line my pockets. We legitimately buy better quality products. And I joked about this on one of the streams. If we sold the Creality fans, we could make a lot more money selling fans because they only last about 3 to 6 months. So we could have a lot of repeat business on fans, but we don't have a lot of repeat business on fans. So maybe I need to rethink how we're running the company. Morals or money? I think there's one last, one last question. From Geronimo, Oklahoma, I have a CR10S with BL Touch, direct drive, and now bought the Big Tree Tech Smart Filament Sensor. I have one here for testing, but I have not done anything with it. So, running 119 firmware, can I install it without updating to 2.0? I'm not sure. I want to say, if memory serves me correctly, I don't think 119 has the feature required to use that type of sensor, because that type of sensor sends pulses as the filament moves, and basically if it hasn't received a pulse in a certain amount of time after a certain amount of filament's been fed, then it triggers a red out condition. And I don't believe 119 has that support in it. Also, I hope it's handy. It's been floating around here. I bought it. Here. Okay. You have to install this after your extruder. This is way bigger than I expected. Look at the size of this. Where the hell are you supposed to put this on your Bowden tube? And this thing, like, it's heavy. Where the hell are you supposed to put this? Because you come out of your extruder, you go in to here, and then you go to the hot end. Where are you supposed to put this thing on, like, an Ender 3? I was expecting this to be like half the size. Like, I still am gonna play with it, but I don't see how I can actually mount this on my Ender 3 without, like, making my Bowden tube way longer and a custom mount. Like, our little ones that we have that right here. Like, my personal opinion is, if your hot end's jamming, you need to address that issue, and it shouldn't be a common occurrence. If your common occurrence on your printer is it jamming, then you need to fix your machine. But, like, this is our standard micro switch. This is the Big Tree Tech sensor. This just hangs on your filament. Like, this thing's massive. I mean, it's a cool idea, but, like, I was not expecting it to be this big. I didn't really think about it when I ordered it. But per their installation directions, okay, you have to mount it after the extruder. That's what their installation says. So if you're running it before the extruder, that's not what they tell you to do. So, and it makes sense because you want to, if you have like on a direct drive printer, that makes it even more complicated because that distance between the nozzle and the hot end is always changing and it's not always moving through. So, I just like these. It's a keep it simple, stupid thing. On a direct drive printer, this is small enough to go above your hot end. On a Bowden printer, it's small enough to just hang on your filament. But this just detects if the filament's in there or it's not. The one benefit of something like this is this detects movement. So, but again, if your printer is not having any issues, the filament should be moving. And if it isn't, then you need to fix the issue with your machine. But like I said, it's a neat idea, but it's huge. Maybe I can make one that's smaller. I don't know. So, but anyways, I just realized we're almost 15 minutes past what I'm supposed to be done, which is 3 p.m. here. So I want to thank everybody that stopped by. And just as a little thank you here, and I'm going to make this good for a couple days here. I'm going to go ahead and make a custom discount code here. Oh, good. I have to sign into my site. Apparently my session timed out. So, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a 10% off code for anything in the shop, and it's good for the first 50 orders. So the first 50 people that use this code, and it's going to be limited to one use per person, 10% off anything in the store. No restrictions. As a thank you for stopping by. So let me set that up real quick. I'm just going to generate a coupon code. I'm going to do a percentage discount of 10. And we're going to go ahead and set the usage limits to 1 per coupon. No limit on how many items you can buy. Limit 50 per coupon. 1 per user. So 50 uses total. No restrictions. And that will be good through Friday, because we're going to start our Black Friday sale on Friday, or not Friday, but Saturday. So I think does this expire? Hang on. It'll expire at 00 this date. Okay, so I want it to expire at midnight, at 12 a.m. on Saturday. Okay, so 10% off anything in the store for the first 50 people. So here's the code. I'm just going to put it in chat there. Nothing crazy. And there you go. So 10% off anything in the store for the first 50 people. You can use it one time per customer. And that will be good through the 20th. So today, Thursday, and Friday. And like I said, if everything goes to plan, we should start rolling sales out for Black Friday. We're going to run it for a little while here. So anyways, appreciate everybody that stopped by. I love you guys. Thank you for asking questions. One last thing while we still have some viewers here because we have 60 people watching. Should I set up a forum where people can submit questions in advance? Or do we just keep doing the live chat? Let me see if I can get Nightbot to work here. Will this work? Did I remember the syntax? Ah, okay, hang on. Let me try this again. I try to do Nightbot's poll thing because it's like way easier. Okay, poll new title. I gotta put the little separate. Let's see. Will this work? Is Nightbot gonna work? Yes. Okay. If you guys could, if it's not too much trouble, go ahead and vote, and then I'll use that to take in consideration because I could set up a form that dumps into a spreadsheet. So, anyways, go ahead and hit that link that Nightbot posted, cast your vote, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. And if I don't see you before the weekend, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. As always, happy printing. I'm out.